Hi, and welcome to Screens in Focus podcast, where we share and connect as we spotlight our favorite shows and movies. I'm Diana, and today we are talking about Fear the Walking Dead Season 8, Episodes 11 and 12, the finale. Renee is here. Hi, Renee. How are you?
Hello. I am doing very well. How about you?
I'm doing amazing. Thank you for asking. It is Thanksgiving week.
Yes.
Yay. So much to be thankful for. So there is so much to talk about because it is the finale. So we're going to just jump right in with our question of the day. And that is, what is one of your favorite Fear the Walking Dead episodes or seasons from all 8 seasons?
So for me, I didn't even have to think the pilot. I just loved Fear the Walking Dead. I watched it and I was like, that's how you start a series. It was, especially the intro with Nick and everything. That was phenomenal. I watched that. I guess I wrote an article on the anniversary of the premiere and I rewatched that beginning sequence with Nick. And it was just like, oh my gosh, what a way to start a series, and I think a lot of people, the first 3 seasons are their favorites. And that to me, the pilot episode, because it was at the onset and we got to see that, which we didn't see a lot of that in The Walking Dead because, like we saw before and then Rick wakes up. So we saw flashbacks, we saw little bits, but not like Fear the Walking Dead did. And I really like that a lot, to see it progressing and how they're, acclimating to what they're learning as they go, kind of thing. So the pilot.
I love that you're so direct, concise. You know what you like, because me, no. but that. I'm all over the place. But I will tell you, the first thing that came to my mind was the episode Wrath, the one where Travis comes to realize that these young guys have killed his son, and how he handles that. And I remember thinking that I was so, while I felt for him because he was a father, it was also very brutal. But you couldn't take your eyes off of what was going to happen, but you didn't want him to go that far, because what was that doing to him? As a father, as a man, as a husband. And here Madison was on the other end, banging on that door, because she knew he was just
out of his mind,
over that edge. Yeah. Over that edge. So that scene comes to mind. So I really enjoyed, that scene from that episode. And that is what has stayed with me. But there are so many good moments that just kind of, bubble up that I remember. And I don't know if it's the whole episode, but just different scenes of when they're in Mexico, and of the dam, and when they're at Brokejaw Ranch. But I was looking at little clips of other people's favorite episodes, and they had quite a few in common. And as I was looking them and researching them, it made me want to go back and watch from the beginning, the first 3 seasons. Cause yes, I do think the first 3 seasons were really amazing. But I know some of the top ones were Eye of the Beholder. I think it's in season 3, episode 1. And there was Sleigh Ride. That was season 3. And there is 100, which focuses on Daniel, which I remember I really liked that episode too. And a little bit more. Oh no, Brother's Keeper was season 3. And I know that a little more recently, people really loved The End is the Beginning with Morgan, season 6, episode 1. And I remember I really liked that one too. And of course, I do have to mention John Dory, and that would be The Key, which is season 6, episode 4, if I have that right. So there's a lot of good episodes that people could pick out and watch.
Because there's a lot of good moments and things. I think if I had to rank it'd be 1, 2, 3, and 6 would be the ones I really liked. And I did do the same with you. I went back and did a rewatch when they announced that Madison was back, because I was trying to remember why everyone was so hyped up about her. I even asked the question on Twitter. I'm not trying to say I love or hate Madison either way. I'm just trying to figure out what everyone's obsession with her is. And people made really good comments and things, but I had to do it for myself. So I did I did go back and rewatch. Yeah, those first 3 seasons are phenomenal.
I do want to say the Eye of the Beholder is the one where she stabs Troy in the eye. And I watched that video today, and it was really good to watch it today because of where we end up in this finale.
Yeah.
So I thought, ooh, this was a perfect clip to watch. And she's got that spoon in his eye. And I feel like I can almost hear the squishing noise, and it's like
making I can feel it. Yeah.
Yeah. What's interesting is it's his
other
eye. Yeah. The not the one that's out. Yeah. I'm like, well, damn, he would have two bad eyes at this point. So how is it that his eyes okay in this recent season? But I guess I don't know what happened, how that, magically.
Well, because when she hit him with the hammer, that's the side she hit him. The eye that's not visible now.
Yeah. Yeah. But I'm saying.
She was still behind the eye. I mean, she just was, holding it.
I guess.
Behind there. I mean.
I guess. But I mean, she stabbed him. She stabbed him with it. But she must have been coupling the eye, I suppose.
Maybe she was an eye surgeon on the side too. And so she knew how to get it right in there.
Oh,
but yes. Goodness. I felt like I could feel that spoon in my eye socket.
Exactly. Exactly. Oh, man. Anyways, there's a lot of great moments actually throughout the 8 seasons. So, like I said, I'm going to go back and watch them. So it'll be fun to rewatch them. And so, friends out there, we would love to know what your favorite episode or season is. Please share it with us, because it's so great to revisit these things, because when we first watched it, it was just such a great show that we absolutely loved. You know what? I'm still proud to say that I lasted, all 8 seasons and watched it. So, but anyways, please let us know. You can reach us on X or on Instagram or any of our social media at Screens in Focus. All the links are on our website at screensinfocus.com, also in our show notes, because we want to hear from you. All right. So we are going to touch upon a little bit of news before we get into the episodes. And I'm going to let Renee share some news. But first, I just want to point out that The Ones Who Live is going to premiere February 25th. I am so excited. And I'm excited to say that Renee will be joining me to break these down when they come out. So thank you, Renee.
Yay. Thank you for asking. Of course, I'm going to talk about Rick and Michonne.
I know, my heart.
I think I shared this with you before. I didn't really notice their absence a whole lot in the seasons they were missing. But when they came up at the finale, I was like, oh yeah, I need them back. Then it hit me that it was like, okay, yes, I miss these characters.
Yeah.
So yes, I will definitely be on board for chatting up on those episodes. Very excited. And I'm excited about the new cast they've started introducing too. So I think it's going to be really, really good. So
it was exciting to see the trailers as we were watching Fear. I got so excited. Oh my God.
Yes, that was good. Yeah. So another piece of information that I was privy to today. I mean, they're slowly rolling out the information for this, but there is an event in Georgia called the Kingdom Fest, and it's organized by Cooper Andrews, who played Jerry, and Dan Fogler, who played Luke in The Walking Dead. So it's a fan event. They're going to have, this normal signings and the autographs, but they're making this a very unique experience. And they're trying to implement a lot of special fun things, fun parties in the evening with karaoke and improv and all this kind of stuff. God. And it just sounds like a blast. And unfortunately, it is the weekend that I will not be around, and I'm only 4 hours away and could easily go, and I'll be gone. So I'm so sad. But so far the guest list is Seth Gilliam and Michael Cudlitz, Paolo Lazzaro, Margot Bingham, Cassidy McClincy Zhang, Carrie Cahill, and Nadine Marissa. So, and there's a couple other people who I didn't know, but they're like producers, directors, things like that. So again, I don't know if they're adding more as it goes. I mean, because it's close, because they of the strikes and things, they couldn't announce things any sooner. But you can find the information at thekingdomfest.com. I think it's that. Or Undead Walking, we actually have a 10% off code for your tickets or your exhibitor pass. So if you go to undeadwalking.com and find that, it should be right at the top, the Kingdom Fest article, that code is in there. So it was nice of them to extend that to our listeners and our readers and everybody. So it sounds like it's going to be a blast.
It does. Oh man, too bad you have to miss it though.
I know.
Wow.
I was so sad when I saw the dates. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Out of the whole month of December, it's literally the only weekend I'm gone.
Wait, it's in December, right?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, that's a hard month though to make.
But I think the main thing is they're trying to get, generate money for these, the Georgia film. They're supporting Georgia film community is what it says in the, on the website. And so they're, like everyone, sure, the strikes are over, but they're not getting jobs till sometime. No one's filming between Thanksgiving and Christmas. So it's going to be 2024 before people are getting employed again. So it's just a way, for that. So, and just keep watching on, and they've got all their social medias, everything. They're on everything. So you can follow them there to find out the updates. And I don't know yet if there's going to be other, announcements as guests and things. So
I wanted to bring up the article. We were both kind of talking beforehand about what happened with Sarah and Wendell and Jacob, how there's an article, how they are alive. They are alive and well. And so I was really happy to hear that because we had talked about it in the previous episodes, how we thought they could have been killed off on those rafts because they didn't mention what had happened to them. We didn't see them. And then we had hoped to see them in these episodes. And we might talk about it a little bit more as we go through this. I didn't want to forget to mention that just in case people are wondering. So I think they said in the article that they have them helping Luciana, helping her with her mission. So that is good to know. I like that. I like that they're alive and out there helping. So, and that article was on Entertainment Weekly. Is that right?
Yes, it's Entertainment Weekly, and they're actually interviewing them. The main focus was, explaining the return in the second episode. They were, explaining that, which of course we'll get to. And if you're listening, you probably already know, but, they just mentioned that, so they're asked about them and, they said that they initially were going to they had it written as what I understand, but then it just didn't fit, so, when they got into the planning and things and they said, looking back, it's a bummer to us that we didn't get to say goodbye, but it was always in our imagination and that they were part of Luciana's crew out there keeping the roads clear between Texas and the East Coast. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. Still not happy about it.
This is my feeling on it. They could have shown a scene of them in that place and Luciana on the phone saying, hey, we're heading out. We might see you. And then they're there and they say, hey, we're here. Glad to hear you guys are okay. Just a second.
If we can give screen time to a cat that they randomly found. I love Skid Mark. He's awesome. Glad he's alive. Glad he's reunited with Daniel. Are you kidding me? Sorry, I'll get off my soapbox now. Well, about that, only that part.
I know. I was going to say, only that part. I was going to say, my husband said the best part was Skid Mark. So if they hadn't brought Skid Mark, he would have been very upset.
He would have nothing to say, nothing positive. That's funny. So I'm glad you got that.
Yes, he did. All right. So let's get into episode 11, Fighting Like You. This was a ride. Okay. This is a ride centered on Madison and Troy. We explore their relationship and the group's divide. And in a surprising twist, Troy reveals Tracy isn't his daughter, but Alicia's. Okay, ... And then Madison isn't buying Troy's redemption story, and she takes him out with Alicia's prosthetic arm. All right, family drama at its finest. So let's talk about Madison and Troy. What were your thoughts on them in this episode?
It just seems so unorganized. It's just back and forth. She wants to help him. She doesn't. She hates him. She loves him. She's happy. This isn't Madison. You know what I mean? And I understand she's under a lot of trauma, the loss of her children. That is forefront in her mind. As a mother, we get that, but this is not Madison. Madison weathers through anything. And I suppose everyone has their breaking point. So maybe that's what they're trying to portray here. I don't know, but it just doesn't feel like Madison. And it just seems so unorganized. And then I wonder, how did Tracy get back with Troy? They're in the truck already with her momby in the background. And I'm like, why are they trucking her around? Like, I don't
yes.
know what's going on.
Yes.
So I missed something, or, and then you're going through this and you're like almost rooting for Troy. Let's give the guy a win,
Yeah.
And I know you get to the end, things do get rushed. They just do. They are going to, because there's so much, I'm sure everyone has all this they want to pack into these final 2 episodes, but it was just disjointed. And yeah, I really had trouble with that part of it. I think like we discussed in pre-show, the ending was great. I mean, I was, some shocking things happened, and that, but yeah, this whole other part just seemed to, like you said, a wild ride. It was for sure a wild ride.
There were so many moments when Madison was going to do something to kill Troy, and she's just about to bring her hand up and put it over, and he's like, wait. I mean, who stops at
how many times did he say wait? We should go back and count those,
It's like, oh man, it's like, and then of course he finds a way to manipulate her because I can help you with the horde and I can do this. But I think that with that, we're going to get into our next little conversation is going to be about the division in the group, because I think that impacts everybody else on what they think too. But I guess just about between them, it was good to see them together again. Certain points in this, they did have, decent conversations, and I thought that could lead somewhere, but it kind of didn't. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about all of that, because the point, and I might be jumping ahead here, but the point where he does pull her out of the water, why did he do that? Why did he save her? And he says, oh, I saw the look in your eyes. I thought he was going to say, I saw the look in your eyes. You were, you had hope, or you cared about your kids or something. He saw, no, he saw like no light in her eyes or something like that. And yet he wanted to save her so that she could find a purpose. I don't know. It was so mixed for me. I'm like, this is a woman that you hate, that you blame for so many things, even your past, not just your current, what's happening with your daughter and your wife, but what's happened in the past also. And yet you're going to let her live. I mean, that's your opportunity.
Yeah.
Of course, we don't want Madison dead, because she is
Madison.
Madison. Yeah. But it's just, unfortunately for both these actors who are both good at what they do, they were given this role, this story to portray. And I did think throughout this episode a couple times, I felt bad for them because they have to say the words and they're saying the words that the best that they can and of their ability. So,
and this really, to me, really proves that a lot of this is weighed on the writers, because in season 3, when they were together, they were fabulous. Those two had the best on-screen chemistry. I was so excited to, at first I was like, this is ridiculous to bring Troy back. And then when I watched when I saw it, I'm like, okay, this is a great idea, because you forget how good he is at that role. Yeah. But then the chemistry that they had before wasn't quite there. Like you said, I think we saw little glimpses of that. But in season 3, they were outstanding together. They were so, they were just so good together. And I think that's why everyone was like really excited. They kept wanting him to come back because of their chemistry. And just, like him with anybody would probably have that. Right. But we have new writers, new showrunners, and it really does show that makes a huge difference.
Well, and then Madison kept getting hit. And I was wondering, how much can this woman take? Because he hits her, and then Crane is reintroduced, and he hits her, and then he hits her again. Like all within, within us watching it, all within like 5-10 minutes, right? Yeah. It's like smack, smack, smack. Yeah. I'm like, oh my God.
All that oxygen she's sucking in protects her somehow. I don't know. But the whole Crane thing, that was worthless.
Yeah.
Bring him back just so he can make sure everyone sees he dies.
Okay. So sorry we're bashing on this right now, but we are going to get to the good part. Okay. We are going to get to the good part, but we can't help but bring this up. We just can't, because he says all this stuff. And mind you, when he was with Shrike, I felt like Shrike was the leader, not him. He was so in the background. Now all of a sudden he's like,
tough guy.
The tough guy. And he's saying all this, and he finds them, and he does this. And then he gets, killed by Madison yelling from the walkers from this place that she's drowning. And then they come really slow, 2 of them up to him, and they're able to overpower this guy who's agile and could go running off, has weapons. It's like,
has survived this long. And then, I mean, like, all of a sudden he just forgot how to fight him, I guess.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like, what was that purpose? I don't know. Just to get them in the water. Maybe they wanted to, I have no idea. And also, okay, I'm going to talk about one more far-fetched thing, but that was Troy being, having that branch in him. Okay. So he has this branch in him, right? And he can't get out of the car when he's with Tracy, but then Madison comes, is about to hit him, and all of a sudden he can pull himself out, right?
Wait, he was working it loose. He was working it loose. The other thing in that scene that I told you I tried writing notes and got tired of it. I wrote that he laid there for hours and there were no walkers. And as soon as he woke up, the walkers start coming. So
yeah.
Anyway, yes.
But then she's all, oh, you can't walk like that. And then she pulls it out. I'm thinking, okay, when you pull something out, don't you just bleed out?
That's
and
like, it was like 2 inches, 3 inches thick or something, that was a.
And then he walks around and there's no like blood soap. He's not bleeding. I'm like, and they don't even try to mend it. It's not like cauterized it or anything. It's like, can't we see something working here? I don't know. Anyway, okay. We had to get that out of the way.
Yes, sorry. We had to get that out of our system.
There was a lot of that happening. Well, okay. Was there anything else that stood out to you in this episode?
You touched on the division. Why are these guys? They know how to do this. They have been in this world for how long? They know that working together is how you get these, that regardless, put your things aside. They've done it with Strand in the past. They've said his stuff because they needed him for whatever it was. They'd go all the way to wherever the heck Dwight was to retrieve one person because he's going to be the one to save, which actually he did a great job. I was impressed with him. But, it's like, why are we so divided? When you guys have the enemy's common, you know what I mean? It's like you have the common enemy. Yeah. Get rid of him and move on. I just don't understand because this group has never been this dysfunctional. I don't know if that's the right word, whatever it is. Yeah. They've never been like this. They've always had issues with other ones or things have happened. Daniel's had things happen, Strand's had things happen. Yeah. And June, everybody, but they come together, and do what they need to do. And then they may just go their separate ways or whatever. But it just was it didn't make sense to me. I don't understand why it was like that.
Yeah. So that was what, of course, I saw too, was the division of this group. And part of it was because of Troy. We saw Daniel and Luciana at the beginning when they shoot that truck that they're in, and then they bring them out and they're like, great. And they take them to the cabin and they're like, great, we get to kill him now. And they both have their motives. And then of course, Madison's all, no, we can't kill him. We need to know where the horde is. And he's the only one that can help us. And Luciana's all, we'll be able to figure it out. And they're like, no, I think we really do need his help. He knows what he's doing here. So then they let him live. And then they do divert the horde from where they're going. But then we have Strand and Alicia's followers. I am sorry, but I don't know their name, but those 3 women that follow Alicia, they all want to give him a second chance. And especially Strand, he is, and I think also it is a personal thing because when he's been given a second chance and he knows what it's like to be the villain or the bad guy and things. And so I think truly he feels, I've turned a corner here. So can he. He can do it too. And I really think that is what he believes. But of course, everybody else has been wronged by him. They're like, no, we want him. We want him dead. We want to kill him. So, Daniel, Luciana, and June also are all on board to have him dead. And of course, we saw where Madison was really pushing against that while they needed him. But that moves us into toward the ending of this episode. So let's talk about that. I want to know, were you shocked by Madison's actions and Troy's revelation?
So I was like, she's talking to him. She's got her hand on his shoulder. I did not expect her. You know what I mean? I didn't expect her to do that. I mean, I thought it was very poetic justice kind of thing to, he says he kills Alicia. She's going to get, and use Alicia's arm and all that. I thought it was very gutsy by the writers who don't seem to push the boundaries in this series at all. So I loved it for that. I mean, I was kind of getting used to Troy, I'm like, oh, maybe he'll do something, So yeah. I was shocked that she did it. And I was glad though, because I was like thrilled that something exciting happened in this episode. I was like, okay, well, at least the end's great. And I wasn't very shocked that he said that about Alicia, because since the time that he announced that he had, it's just always been in the back of my brain that somehow they're going to piece this together. It's going to be Alicia's kid, just because how they were building it and making Madison kind of start to like it, just little things, that back and forth between her and then, she's going to realize it's her granddaughter. You know what I mean? Like, the first mention of him having a daughter, I was like, because I saw a spoiler at some, beforehand, I was like, oh my gosh, somehow it's Alicia's kid, it's just like stuck in my brain. I could never piece it together or whatever. So I wasn't too shocked that he said all that, but that was just, like I said, in my brain for some reason, because just how the series goes.
Yeah. So I have to say I was shocked that she did it. I was shocked because, like you said, the way she held his shoulder, that he just saved her, that she just said, why? I thought, oh my gosh, somebody can save you and then you kill him? Oh my gosh.
Well, he's ran his use, he's done.
It was interesting because that is when she turns around and because Strand is like freaked out. He's, oh my God, you killed him. And it's so funny how freaked out he is, because it's like, okay, you've killed a bunch of people. I mean, I can see him being freaked out for Madison's behalf. Yeah. Like, Madison, I feel like I would have seen a different type of surprise from him, but it was almost like he was shocked that she killed him. And I'm like, so that was a moment. She says, this is what we need to do to survive. And it's so funny because that line we've seen in the trailers, and I always wondered what she was doing. Yeah. When that happened, I thought it was like them defending Padre or something else. And the fact that it was, oh no, she just killed Troy again, finally, or whatever it might be. So yes, I was shocked, and you're right. It was probably a good moment, because that's when you're like, oh, I can't believe she just did that. But I wondered we had talked about the medallion and what it means, and we knew there was going to be more to it. Although it takes another shift in the next episode. But at this moment, was I 100% surprised? No, because we knew, or we thought something was going to happen. But when I thought this was true, I thought to myself, oh God, it makes so much sense that it's Alicia's and not Troy's at all. Because of course, my initial thought was that Troy and Alicia got together, and I wouldn't have liked that at all. No. That would have been terrible. But no. She could have been pregnant from the guy that she loved. I don't know if it was long enough or too long, in the, when she was bit, because I'm thinking she really did love him. So I thought, oh my gosh, she has a child and Madison has a grandchild. How exciting. But that will quickly change. But
that'll change. Our happiness will change soon.
But, let's just morph into a different type of happiness, I think. But I did want to bring up Tracy, because this young girl has been told so many stories by her dad, by Madison, by what she hears, even in the next one. Yes. And I think I had a little bit of sympathy for her. I really did, even though an episode ago she was annoying me because she was just this feisty little girl. But now I'm like, oh man, I mean, you've had kind of a rough life, with her mind you, her mother's dead, and then her dad's bringing the mother along too. That I'm sure that's not helping.
Yeah, let's remind our child of this all the time.
Yeah, exactly. And then let's go kill the people and the fact that he shared so much information with her.
Yeah, that was weird.
So I just wanted to mention that. So I give her a tiny bit of grace for all of this that she has to go through. All right. Is there anything else on that episode, or shall we move into?
I think let's move on.
Okay, so we're going to move into episode 12, which was a better episode. Much better, thank you. For me, at least for me, it was. So Fear the Walking Dead, episode 12, The Road Ahead unveils a massive horde heading to Padre, accompanied by shocking conflicts. The episode takes an unexpected turn when a medallion becomes the catalyst for a powerful chain of events, exploring themes of sacrifice and hope. The episode concludes with a heartfelt reunion with Alicia and a touching message for Strand. I do want to say that the last third of this episode really did move me. I liked all the built up to it, but what I'm saying is that this last third, it did make me happy, and I'll share more about that later. So there was, of course, a lot of character conflicts in this. So what did you see? What did you think? What are your feelings on all of that?
One of the first things that came to mind when I read, that was your prompt here for this next segment. The first thing that popped into my head was Luciana. That girl is a rock star. I tell you what, Madison treats her like crap, holds a gun to her head, and the woman wishes her well. Who does this? You know what I mean? Like, she is just so at peace with what she feels her mission is, and she just wants to be done with this nonsense and move on and go help people. She's done. Yeah. She's done with all their antics, all their everything. And like, seriously, doesn't she hug her even? Like,
yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
She hugs her and says, I wish you well, or whatever, how she words it. But I just was like, man, nobody gives her enough credit. Absolutely. And I just, that was the first thing that popped into my head when I read that prompt. And then, there's just a lot of tension again going on, like, like Strand and Madison. I don't quite understand why there's so much tension there when they're so alike, you know what I mean? And they've been good friends for so long, like they off and on, because things happen. But, it's like you guys were reunited. And I still thought it was odd that she just outed him like she did, and things. And it's like, why did you do that? Because she doesn't know how he was at the tower. She remembers him back from, before. Yeah. Yeah. And he's always been a con man. He's always been out for number one. That's just Strand, but she also accepted all that previously. So I was really confused as to why she was, instead of pulling him to the side, like, what's going on? Why are you lying to these people, when she outed him at the beginning with the his family? Yeah. She was just like, no, you're Victor Strand. But, it's like, you guys were good friends before your death, and everything. Yeah. So I just don't understand this tension between, and I guess I don't understand all the tension. You know what I mean? Like, I go back to the division kind of thing. So then for me, like you were saying, that back little quarter, third, or whatever it was, that it really was impactful to you. To me, it fell flat because, okay, so now everybody's fine. You guys are all just good with each other now. You've been fighting for how many episodes? And I don't mean to be so negative, but it's just so difficult, Yeah. I mean, and after I thought about it, then I'm like, well, I'm glad they all got their happy ending kind of thing, and whatever, or on to that, or hopefully. It's just been very tough to understand what's going on here. Like I said, it's disjointed, and it's just been difficult for me to enjoy these final episodes. So yeah, tons of conflict, tons of all this stuff. And then I'm excited. You have a line on your notes that I'm excited to hear what your thoughts are, because I don't know what I said. I read that and I was like, I must have blacked out because I don't remember anything. So I'm excited to hear what you have to say.
Well, okay. So in the conflicts. Okay. So I want to start back at the woods, because this is where it started. I do want to say, though, we never saw where one episode ended and the other one started, which was a little bit confusing because I thought, where did this episode start? But it did start with Tracy in that log. But I kept going back. I don't see an ending. I don't see a beginning. Where's this going? So anyway, they're in the woods. She hears them all in the woods. And I found that conversation actually pretty interesting, because we see that Dwight and Sherry capture Russell, and, they want to take them with them because they want to know what's happening with the horde. But then Daniel is like, no, gas up the car, Luciana. We're heading out of here because these fanatics, I don't trust them. I don't like them. I don't want anything to do with them. Let's get the heck out of here, which was so funny.
I know.
But again, it's this whole divide. You've got these people saying this and you got these people saying that, which I thought was, kind of funny.
It just makes me appreciate Daniel even more. He's just done with everybody too.
It does. It does. Okay. So while I do appreciate it and I do love Daniel and it does make sense, but again, it's divided because he doesn't have, all he cares about is Luciana right now. That's it. He could care less about any other person, which leads me into the next part where I saw this great divide for me, which is Daniel, Madison, and Strand in that garage. And this is where I put, wow, powerful words, cuts like a knife. And the reason I say this, the reason it meant to me, Daniel is fed up. And Daniel's like, I just don't want anything to do with you. All you're trying to do, Strand, is make yourself feel better. That's why you're doing this. You don't care about anybody else. It's what makes you feel better. And like I was mentioning before, that he saw maybe Troy in him needing a second chance. And it kind of does do that because sometimes when you understand what you've done wrong and you recognize it in somebody else, then you want to give them the benefit because that was you at one point. And so you're feeling that. So Daniel is like, you're just wanting to make yourself feel better. That's all that you want to do. And he was really giving it to Madison and Strand. But then Strand comes back and says, maybe you see you and me and you don't like what you see because that's a part of you, which is true because they say when you don't like something about someone else, it's because it might be a part of you that you do not like. And so I thought, whoa, that's why I said powerful words, because he was pushing it back on his face. And then he says to Madison, he said, I should have never let you in my barber shop.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa, family. Now the family is blown up. And then Strand's all back off. And then
it's like Thanksgiving dinner and everybody just goes crazy.
That's exactly what I was
One
going to
thing
say.
gets said and it just shoots everybody off.
And that's how I felt. Like this was a family. This was a family. And I truly felt like the three of them were a family just spewing out things because they were in pain. They are facing grief. They are hurt. They're trying to survive. They don't really mean it, even though it's truth, but it's not something you would say. And so, and then Madison says, well, then I regret that I let you in my house. And then Strand says, and I let you in my boat. And I'm like, oh my God, this is like so.
It's all coming back to me now. I'm glad because I did forget. I literally forgot all this. I mean, now that you're saying it, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. That was pretty cool.
So it was a good moment because it was this fractured family saying all of this. And I do want to add to that because you had mentioned how in that last third that I found very heartwarming and impactful to me, this was them letting it all out. This was them saying all the stuff that they wanted to say to each other, because that leads into Strand and Madison having a conversation that really tugged at my heartstrings here, because I really do think Strand really has turned a corner. He has turned a corner because he finally has a family. He finally has somebody he loves that loves him, that they're important. This is something he's always wanted. Side note, I read somewhere that Coleman Domingo wrote that's what he wanted in this for himself.
That's wonderful.
And he told the writers, and they said, okay, they listened to him and incorporated in this. So anyway, back to this part with him and Madison, the fact that he's like, okay, come on, we got to go help my family now because Padre's burning down. And I think I've kind of gone off the rails here myself because everything's blending together. But anyway, but he says, we got to go help Padre because it's burning down. Things are happening. The horde's, on its way and they can't get out. And Madison's, no, I can't go. But what I found interesting is that they weren't like fighting. I think Madison was trying to appeal to him in a sense of like, I've got something I have to do. Like I'm seeing my kids and I'm seeing them like they were before, and something, I'm having these visions of that I have to tend to, that I need to do. And if I go with you, I may not make it out of there, and I need to do this. And I understood her. I really did understand her, although I understand how Strand felt, because he's like, but wait, I saved you. I helped you because you're my friend. You're my friend. And I did this for you. And now I need you. I need you now, Madison. And she's like, I can't, you are my friend. I am your friend, but I can't do this. So, oh my gosh, that just really kind of, it was hard because I felt both sides. I understood both sides. And unfortunately, that couldn't coincide at that moment. He had to go help his family and she had to go do what she was doing. Oh, man, lots of, and then Strand tells her, if you find Alicia, tell her I tried. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's easy for Strand to say now, because now Strand is saying all the good reasoning, the sound reasonings, but I'm like, okay, last season you were a big villain, a terrible villain. Yes, a tyrant. Exactly. And now you have all this stuff to say.
Yeah.
Did you have anything you wanted to say about that before we move on?
No, I think you did a great job getting my memory back.
Sorry, I went on my little soapbox for a little while.
Well, good. Because usually it's me that does all that. So I'm glad you did.
Let's talk about the Padre events. Let's talk about Russell's revelation, the group's survival against the Walker Horde, and Madison's transformative moment. Tell me what stuck out to you in any of this.
We talked about Dwight, I thought that was pretty cool that he stepped up, I whined and complained because they went all the way to get him, but evidently he did make a difference. So I'll, all right, fine. But no, I was impressed that they gave him a moment to shine, because poor Dwight, man, he's just always in the background. He's just always, poor guy, him and Sherry, just everything goes wrong. And, he's like Eeyore, he's like the Fear the Walking Dead's Eeyore, poor guy. But I love that, he was able, just had that moment to shine and step up. And, I think he could be a good leader someday. I really do. He's watched enough people do things the wrong way, and he's seen a couple do it pretty much the right, that kind of stuff. So I like that part of it. And then again, with Russell's revelation, I wasn't really that surprised again, because I just I don't know. I just felt that they were leading up to this. Like I didn't know that maybe she would show up, but there would be something, that gives Madison hope that she was, not gone and things like that. So that to me, for him, it just wasn't quite a surprise, and I thought the medallion thing was stupid. I just was like, I understand the symbolism and everything. I don't know. I'm just really not very positive. I'm sorry. And I mean, this little kid picks up this gun and shoots her, and
oh, okay. That part. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I just, I don't know. Is that what you were saying by her transformative moment? Is that what you were talking over?
Oh, well, okay. Well, before I get to the transformative moment, I do want to agree with you on Dwight, because I noticed that. I love that, because there was a couple of times that he was over there telling everybody what to do. But then, of course, who else is going to tell everybody what to do? Yeah. But I love that. I love that he's all like, close that, and let's do that. And now we're going to go out and, we're going to shoot for the forest, and we're going to do this and that. And so he was just really rallying up the troops, and they're like, are we going to make it? What are we going to do? And so, come on, we're going to do this. So, and he felt like a leader to me. Yeah. He felt like he could lead this, like, yes, we're good. We're good. And so, yes, that gave credibility for them going and helping him, because if they hadn't,
who would have let him?
They would have been running around like chickens with their heads cut off. No, not really. But, I think it was very helpful. And I did love seeing Dwight shine, for that bit at Padre and trying to figure it out. But one thing I want to say about Padre, it going down, because all the places, all of them, I don't care where it's been, all the bigger places have gone down in the Walking Dead universe. place because it just is. It just can't survive. You've got so many people that want it in this apocalyptic world, and somebody's going to get it or do something or bring a horde, because that seems to be what happens.
Yeah.
That's what happened at the Commonwealth too, right?
Yeah.
So, and then you got to blow it up or do something when you've got all these walkers there, and then you have to figure out a way. But it's like for so long, they're like, oh, let's go to Padre. It's on an island. We'll be safe. But nope. They're going to bring these walkers on a ship. Yes. And let them off. And, I don't know how they got that ship to go across there and the fuel and everything else, but
magic fuel that just comes.
How it works. But anyway, so I did want to bring up how Padre, I think it was destined for failure at the beginning, because these places, you hope that they will survive, and then they, people want what you have. So I don't know, but, so yes. So what I wanted to say about the transformative moment about this medallion was, okay. So I actually liked the medallion part only because, even though, yes, I know it's silly. I know it is, but I think the reason I liked it was because we see Tracy give it back to Madison. We see Madison put it in that, I forget what it's called, the cartridge. I can't think of the name right now. Puts it in her, but we see her do all this, right? When Tracy gets that gun and shoots her, which, yes, I'm like, why is she putting the gun up there? I thought this before it happened. Okay. Before that, I'm like, why is Madison putting the gun up there? I really questioned that, because I thought, you just don't do that. Why would you do that? And then, of course, that gives Tracy the ability to grab that gun and shoot her. And I thought, oh my God, she really did shoot Madison. I didn't think anything at that moment. But then when Strand tells the story after Padre, we see everything that happens at Padre, and then he says, it can't end like this. And then all of a sudden it's the next day and we see him, and he's talking with Tracy in the RV or the trailer, whatever it is. And tells her the story in flashbacks, which I did appreciate that part too. And that storytelling of what happened. Something about, I don't know if it's divine intervention, if it's luck, if it's coincidence, if it's what, but that has happened in other things too, right? Where people get shot and they don't die because something
badge or there's something.
Exactly.
Their flask is in their pocket.
Could be a million things, because we've seen it before, but I knew once he said something, I'm like, oh my God, it's the medallion. And then they show it. And I'm like, yes, I love that. And I don't know why, because to me, it's just a little bit of that faith, of that hope. And I love any time we can, that theme. I do love the theme, of course. I love Daryl Dixon and that whole hope and faith theme in there. So just that little bit, I just felt it was meant to be. And of course, that transforms her, because now Madison is like, holy crap, I get a second chance. And why do I get a second chance? Because this belonged to Alicia. And so to her, it just puts her whole mind right, because she was like going crazy. Okay. You were like way off the deep end, Madison, but that's what it took. And I did think it was a good idea, I guess, clever, I don't know, for her to do what she did again, to do what she did at the stadium. There was something, I don't know, a little poetic. I don't know. Maybe I'm cheesy. Maybe I do like a little bit of cheese. I don't know. But I thought, okay, all right, you're going to do what you did before. And she really did. She was willing to sacrifice herself. She's like, you know what? I'm ready to go out. This is what I'm doing. Even though, now she knows, at that point, she did know Alicia was alive, right? Yeah.
Well, possibly.
Possibly.
Yeah.
That's right. Possibly.
He said that when he didn't like see her dead body, something like, so it's a good possibility that she was alive. So,
yeah. And okay, but another far-fetched thing is, okay, Tracy goes running off, and I'm thinking, okay, come on, Strand can't grab a little kid and get the gun away from her. It's like she's all holding it against him, and then she goes running out. I'm like, man, this little girl, she can do all kinds of stuff. Then we don't see it, but she finds Madison and she drags her up. Okay, how does this little tiny girl drag this grown woman and mend her, find a place for her? She just magically appears. She's got some skills. That's what I say about her. But as she's talking to Madison, oh my gosh, we hear this voice.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's Alicia's voice. I recognize that voice. Oh my God. And then she shows up. What did you think of that?
I was glad to see Alicia because I just didn't know if it was going to happen, just because I thought the story was leading us there, but I did, I was like, she's busy right now. She's doing all kinds of, she's just she's like now the spokesperson for, was it Dior? I forget which, she's just very busy.
Seen that.
Oh yeah. I wrote that up it was like recently she's like the first Australian ambassador, and I don't remember which brand it is. Sorry about that, but so it's pretty cool. But, she's just very busy. So I'm like, would they be able to get her in there for that? Because when they were filming, like earlier on, she was filming some things before the strike and stuff. So it was like, crap, did they get her in there in time? So I wasn't sure that we'd actually see her, but I kept feeling it was building to something. So I was really glad to see her because I thought that just fit, it made sense.
Yeah.
I guess going back to the, with her, Madison doing the whole Dell Diamond thing, I thought it was kind of lazy writing, but I get, listening to how you explain it, I understood the symbolism of all of it. It was just, I guess I like a good amount of cheese, but I guess maybe that was too much for me. I don't know. It was a little too much. I don't know, but I was glad to see her. And I knew the fandom would go crazy because they wanted to see her one more time. They wanted to see her in Madison. That was, because that was the whole thing with season 7. Everybody was just ticked off. Are you kidding me? You make her leave and then Madison? Are you what?
I was,
Everybody was ticked off about it. Even me, who I'm pretty negative about the series. I was like, are you kidding me? You're going to do this to these people who are dying to see these girls back together. So it was a wonderful moment. It was great. I loved it when she asked her about Tracy or said whatever about Tracy. And she's like, oh yeah, I didn't have a kid.
Yeah.
I thought that was hilarious because she's looking at her like, have you really lost it? So overall, I thought that was great, and again, like you said with Tracy, it was just like, I can't believe all these things. I want to see a real kid in the apocalypse, the one screaming and hollering and the one doing all these, doing kid things, not grown up things, and it's tough to take because it's constant. They're all brilliant. They're all self-sufficient. And they're 8, my 8-year-old grandson cannot do these things.
But okay. Yes. I think that what we see Tracy do is just too much over the top, even with Mo too. But at the same time, you're living in a different world. And so there are lots of young kids who can shoot a gun and everything. I actually think Judith, to me, is a good example because I do think she's capable, but she also wants to be a kid, at times too. So but she's brave enough. Like she is brave enough too. So I like her balance. Yeah.
Right. We still see the kid in her, when they're coloring and they're laughing and but like with Tracy, they just like, she, again, like you said, she knew too much in this, and I understand the environment's completely different, but it's just once in a while, you just like to see more of a kid, and I know it's just a different thing, but it just, I just, anyway, but the Alicia thing was great. And I was glad that they brought her back because I knew the fandom was going to, I got to watch this prior to everyone else, but I was like, oh, they're going to lose it when this happens. So I was really happy for the fans that were so excited for this. And again, like I said, I was very happy to see that reunion with her and Madison. So,
well, I was thrilled because I was holding out hope because last week or 2 weeks ago when we talked, or last week when you said, oh, she's probably not going to come, I was like, my heart sunk. I'm like, what? My bubble was bursting.
Yeah. But I told you I'd be very happy to be wrong. And I was very happy to be wrong. Yes.
Of course. Yeah. But I thought, oh shoot, she really might not because because I thought it could have been that she wouldn't, right? Or she couldn't, or whatever reason. But I think,
and they could have easily filmed that scene right after her other scenes. You know what I mean? Kim Dickens was already ready to film the next episode. Like she was leaving, she was coming back. They could have filmed that then, and easy enough. So,
but I'm sure they were filmed now, because Alicia did look a little bit fuller faced, and because she's a young woman growing up too. So we did see sacrifice and hope. That was the whole this whole episode. So where did you see those themes in this episode to you? Like, what stood out to you?
Well, obviously with Madison, that was very apparent what she was doing there. But I think with Alicia, we see her, she's been through a lot too. I mean, they all have, and she didn't know if her mom, I guess I didn't pay attention to when she found out her mother was alive and things. But, for a long time, her brother was dead. She thought her mother was dead, and she was, had lost that. She did have her friends, but it's not the same as your mom, and right. So, but she continued to do good things. She continued to go out there, and, when she left everybody at the raft, she was determined to help all these people that she had called and said, hey, the tower is a great place. It's safe, blah, blah, blah. Then they find, no, it's not safe. Don't come. And so, she sacrificed, just everything to, do good for these people and reach out and find them. And then she inspired all these other people. And that's where the hope comes in. They saw this, and they were hopeful that, okay, you helped me. I'm paying that forward. And, and I know that somebody called the girl, that group of girls, Alicia's fan club or something like that, which I thought was cute. They might have meant it snidely or whatever, but I thought it was cute. So, so I thought that was neat to know that there's that group plus however many others that are out there following Alicia's lead, and she's giving them hope. So I just, to me, Alicia's always been a stronger character. I guess, I don't know if you can see me, she's my favorite, but she has always, to me, been the strongest one, just because she had to keep going, and, that kind of stuff. And so it's just, I just loved, all of that, and I saw they put Madre on the trucks and things.
Yes.
What a fun thing for Madison. She's like, wait, was that for me?
Yeah.
And so I really thought that was good, because if you're going to end, let's end on a good note, let's end on a happy note. I mean, it sounds like they're not doing spinoffs of Fear. Who knows what'll happen, but just some of the things that they had initially said, and I haven't read a lot since then, so I don't know. But if this is the end, then let's have some happiness. And like you said, some hope.
Yes, for sure. Yeah. All of those things that you just pointed out was where I saw sacrifice and hope. And of course, in my mind, it is Alicia and Madison both, because they both sacrifice so much for other people. Yeah. And in turn, it does bring hope. But I did want to point out that I loved toward the end when Strand gets into his vehicle and he sees the flowers. Yeah. And I thought, oh my gosh, that totally warmed my heart, because I thought, oh my gosh, this is hope. And just the look on his face. Yeah. It was so revealing. And it was a great moment to see him. So in continuing this hope theme, and also a theme to me that I saw was returning home, is the character journeys and the potential futures of what life could mean for them. So we saw different characters pair off and going different directions. So with Madison, Alicia, and Tracy, they are heading to LA, Los Angeles, to help people. With Victor, Frank, and Klaus, they are going onward and they will be helping people too. And then we see Dwight and Sherry going back to the sanctuary to find parents whose children were stolen by Padre. And then, of course, we see Daniel and Skidmark and Luciana. Not sure exactly where they're going, but they're just going to continue to help people and do what they've been doing all along. And then we see June and Odessa. They're going to head off to Texas and visit John's grave and teach Odessa medicine. So tell me what you think about any of these characters, or what you see for them, or what you think about any of them.
Well, I love the Dwight and Sherry returning to Sanctuary, because that will fulfill my prophecy that Dwight is the one who returned, that Carol's afraid to tell Daryl. So I want to see that. But I thought that was, go back there and make that horrible place that you guys have such horrible memories and horrible treatment and all these bad things happen, make it a good place, make it something positive, except that it all kind of fell apart too in that one episode. So I'm not sure how, that building was really, but anyway, maybe there's another building. I don't know, but that main building kind of fell apart, but I like that. I like that June is returning. I mean, I still like, how long does Fallout take to kind of go away? Like,
right. Yeah.
I was like, you just left. I mean, it's been 7 years and I don't know. I didn't do the research on that to see what kind of condition that Texas would be in at this point. And maybe it clears after whatever. So that I did have that question, but I loved the idea of her returning to the Dory's cabin. And, especially I was like, thinking, and she's taking Dove under her wing, kind of being funny with the birds thing. But anyway, I like that she is wanting to pass on her knowledge and things because, she's going to have to, because people need to know how, whatever happens, you need to know that those skills are vital to, people need to know them. So I like that for her because I feel like I wanted to see more of June, and more because she's really hurting and really, she's just suffering and just lots of stuff on top of everything, but it was good to see again, that little bit of hope there. And of course, Victor, I'm so happy that I feel, like they said his transformation and all this, but how many times has he, he's kind of a chameleon and he just kind of does what he needs to do to fit in wherever. But I was really happy to see him with his family and that he's finally found that he's longed for, he's wanted that, but he's just always going about it the wrong way and everything. So, 7 years did him good. And I feel like he's, truly, in that point. And then of course, Daniel and Luciana, I like seeing them together just because that's his, surrogate daughter and he's going to take care of her as long as he can. And he got his cat back. So, of course, everyone's happy to see Mark survive. And so it was neat. And then, I can to see, Tracy and Alicia and Madison in the distance, their little group there to go and do what they're going to do. So overall, I thought there were pieces and things that were whatever, but it was a nice ending. I thought it really did a good job showing us what they're all doing next and kind of like whether we see this ever in a series or something, but at least we're like, oh yeah, they're also all doing great things.
Yeah. I actually thought it was a good way to end Fear the Walking Dead because I was telling you before we even, clicked record today that The Walking Dead and the way it ended was how we expected it because they have always come together. They've always been a really good group and there's a lot of hope and just, there just is a lot of camaraderie and friendship and love between all of them. But Fear is different. And Fear, we've seen them kind of splinter off and different people come in and out and kind of going a different way for a little while and just either separated by chance or by being captured, whatever it might be, but they have been off from each other. And so I kind of think that this is a good way because they are friends. They do care about each other. But they're each able to do what they need to do because they have their own, desires, wants, passions, what's important to them. I also do like that they are returning home to face things. And I love that they've come so far in their lives, in their journey, that they can go back. Because for Sherry and Dwight, I mean, yes, they showed them go back already once and sort of experience what it would be to be in that situation again. So they know how they're going to feel. So, that's good to know. But I love that Sherry checks in with them because she has this hesitancy because she's like, I lost you once. I don't want to lose you again. Right. Mind you, she lost herself too because of what the experiences that they had there. But I like that they're able to say, okay, I think we can move past this now. Now we can go back. And it's interesting because we saw Morgan return back too. We saw Morgan go back and then Morgan go off. And actually, Dwight could meet up with Morgan at some point, right? Again, eventually, possibly.
They could have met him before. I mean, they...
So, that could very well happen. And so I just love that. And I do have a thing for Sherry and Dwight because I had mentioned it in the last podcast episode, their whole love story and where they came from and how much they fought to be with each other. And Sherry even mentions it in this because I think one of the kids says, "Oh, do you think we can find them?" And she says, "Yeah, look, we found each other, against all odds.
Yeah, she did say that.
We still found each other." And the thing was, it really was years. We experienced that with them because we were there when Sherry left, and then years went by and here they came back together again. So I think the fact that we saw it and it wasn't just like 2 episodes later and they found each other. No, this really did happen. So I think for them, I was so happy to see them have their somewhat happy ending, and the fact that they're continuing with each other, because when they broke up, I was totally pissed off.
Yeah.
Like, no,
what the heck? Are you kidding me?
You can't do that.
Yeah.
Also, I did like Daniel and Strand's conversation, because I feel like Daniel apologized and saying, "Oh, I see what you're saying now," which I appreciated so much. And also Strand saying, "I should do this anyway because we're friends, and that's what good people should do." And it's like, oh my God, this is Strand. This is so not you. But of course, he's a different person now again, because he has a husband and a child. And so it just totally changes you or changes him. It doesn't have to change everybody, and not everybody needs that to change. But for him, that is what he needed to change. So, and they do say change. One of them says change is possible. So I thought that was kind of cool. I think I'll bring this up and the award goes too, because this is our very last segment, and I am saving my favorite part for the end. So tell me, Renee, I want to know from you, what was your favorite quote, character, or moment in this episode?
It was tough because, it was cool to see Alicia. It was cool that Madison killed Troy, because it was unexpected and everything. But I just still go back to Luciana and that scene with her and Madison, because I loved that. Like that, out of all the things that happened, that just stood out to me. I guess because I think that I would like to think that I could be that person to someone. I don't know that I could, but I would like to be that person that can this person's just going through so much right now. They just need love. I'm just going to hug you. I'm going to tell you it's all, and I really that just resonated with me so deeply, because I just hope that if I was Luciana, that I could do that, I don't know if I could, but I would want to, and so I just love that so much. And I just think, Luciana doesn't get enough credit, because I think we mentioned this previously, how she was a leader of her group at that, first group we saw her with. And, she's done a lot of things, and she's, she loved Nick and she lost him, and that had to be unreal for her. And to see Charlie all the time, just all these things, she's lost so much, and, and she gained a found family and things like that. And Daniel, a father figure, whatever, but it just, so that I just loved it. That was, it just really impacted me. And so I really love that. Just,
I love that moment too. I'm so glad that you brought her up. I really am, because she is amazing. And I also loved it when Strand went up to her and hugged her when they were parting ways too. And just, I don't know, it was very heartfelt, their hug to me, and just the way that they looked at each other. Also, I want to go back to something that you said earlier, because you said, oh, Madison pulled a gun on her and she still acted this way. Luciana knew that she wasn't going to do anything to her, because Madison didn't want to do anything to her. She was just trying to force her to do it. Like, just do it, just do it. But she wasn't going to harm her. So, and I think, again, Luciana knew that. She's like, she's just in pain right now. She's just trying to because she says, I know you want to put Alicia to rest. So, she knew where she was coming from. And I think that Luciana is just she's like in the best place. She really is. She's the most sound, right now out of everybody, because she has to tell Daniel at times too, Daniel, back off, back off right now. This needs to happen or whatever it might be. So, so I'm so glad you picked her, because I think she is amazing. Okay. So my favorite moment is when Strand, it's a tie between when Strand gets the flowers, looks in the rearview mirror. Something about that moment just warms my heart. It does. I don't know. I think it's Coleman Domingo and his acting coming through.
So good.
Because I feel like there's such satisfaction, such like warmth And I love how Klaus and it's Klaus, right?
Mm-hmm.
Klaus, am I saying his name right? Klaus and Frank get into the car. First, Klaus all, what's going on or what's happening? He's all, oh, did you put these flowers here? No. And then he's looking in the mirror and he sees their 3 reflections and he knows they're alive. Oh my gosh.
Fine. Yeah.
It was so good. And then he acts, like everything's fine. And Frank's, oh, is everything okay? We can go look for Tracy some more. And he's like, oh no, I'm good. And he's just like so satisfied because he doesn't have to go search for Tracy. He knows she's in good hands. He knows Alicia's alive. He knows Madison is with her. He knows that what he was hoping to do and the promise that he was made to Alicia, it's all coming true because those 3 are still alive. And oh my God, it just was so good. And of course that encompasses Alicia being alive, because I was going to say, I also really love the moment because I just would have not have been satisfied if we did not see Alicia. Seriously, I would not have been satisfied. I wrote in a post, I don't know if I said it already, but I was going to say I was going to riot in my living room if we didn't see Alicia, because
lots of people felt that way. Yeah.
It was so important. And I'm so glad. So glad. So that's why I think I was thoroughly satisfied with the last 15, 20 minutes of this, of the finale. And it did end how I had hoped and wanted it to. So
well, I'm glad it ended how you wanted it.
Yay. I'm so happy. That makes me so happy. Oh man. All right. So, oh my gosh, this is the last, well, it may not be the last time we talk about fear because, we always seem to bring it up, but
yeah, it kind of just gets in the mix, I guess.
Yeah. Oh my God. Any last parting words on Fear the Walking Dead?
Nope. I feel like it was time to end, and I think we've said a lot about it.
Do you know that I felt kind of sad that it ended? I thought, okay. Oh, I know what made me sad too. At the very, very end, everybody says thank you. All the actors come on and give their thanks. And when they did that, all of a sudden I felt like that tinge of that it's over and that these actors are done with this character. That must be hard for them.
Yeah.
These are characters that they've lived for some of them 8 years, right? Or more. And so it must be hard to say goodbye. And I loved hearing each of them give their thanks. And then of course, when I saw Morgan, I'm like, oh my God, Morgan and Grace. And so, and it was just nice to see each one of them. Yeah. So I thought that was awesome. All right. Fear the Walking Dead. I'll miss you, kind of. Well, I'll miss you so much. I'm going to go back and watch the first 3 seasons. All right. So that concludes our conversation on Fear the Walking Dead. But I would love to know, Renee, if you've had a chance to watch anything in the last week. Do you have any TV or movie recommendations?
So no movies. We literally been on, we're all about series right now for some reason. We watched our horror movies in September, October, and then it was we're just doing series. And I think it's mostly because I shared this with you earlier that they're all weekly. I just want the whole episode or the whole season released. And none of them that I'm watching currently, I think, are doing that. So you had recommended Lessons in Chemistry on Apple TV, and we cannot stop. My mom and my husband are watching it together, and we're just like, "You guys ready? You guys ready? Can you watch another? Can you watch another?" And so, and I can't remember which episode we were on actually, but outstanding. What Brie Larson, right? Is that yeah. And what's the Pullman guy? But it's
Pullman. Yes,
it's what's his name? Son. Yeah,
Bill Pullman's son, Louis Pullman. Possibly.
Yeah, that could be right. But anyway, and I just love it so much. There's so much goodness. I was telling my daughter, you need to watch this. You're going to love it. It's so good. And so we're watching that. Lawmen Reeves. We're still going, with that. And I just still, it's a very good series. I mean, Taylor Sheridan doesn't do a whole lot of bad. He's really good.
Right. He's good. Yeah.
But this one's I like because it's very different. I didn't know really what to expect, but it's different than the other ones, which I like because I don't want to just keep watching Yellowstone over. Yes. I love Yellowstone, but I don't need to see 4 episodes or 4 series like that. And then the Gilded Age, I'm still going through that one. That's again another one that's coming out, and then I had mentioned the Buccaneers to you, and I was like, I don't know. And I got to the point where I was like, I wanted to see the next episode. Oh, it doesn't come out till Wednesday. So
Oh,
you might want to give it a
okay.
chance. It's actually better than what I initially said. So,
well, that's good.
yeah, it's gotten better. And there's just a couple of things that are, like I said, it feels like it's pushing too hard to try to be a Bridgerton kind of thing with the modern music and that. But I've kind of gotten okay with that. Like, okay, now I can do this. I just needed to just get your brain in the right process. So anyways, you may want to try it because I've been enjoying it. Like I said, I was ready to push the next episode and it wasn't there.
Well, that's good to know because I told people we would report back on that.
Yeah.
And I wasn't quite sure. So I am watching for TV shows. I am continuing to watch a lot of the same shows that you're watching because I'm continuing with Lessons in Chemistry and Lawmen Bass Reeves. So, and I am loving those too. So I'm just going to ditto what Renee has said. They're so good. I'm loving it. But yeah, you got to wait each week to see where we're going next. I've only seen a couple episodes of Lawmen Bass Reeves. I think there might be 4 episodes out. I still have a few more to go. So I'm a little bit behind on that one, but I'm up to date on Lessons in Chemistry. So look, you can watch a Western or you can watch a 50s drama. They're both super good. And I actually, instead of watching a movie on Saturday, my husband and I continued with Invasion season 2 on Apple TV, which I've talked about before. The reason I wanted to bring it up is because we are almost at the end of season 2 and it's so good. And I had told another friend of mine, my coworker, to watch it. And she was texting me. She's all, all these things of how she was feeling about it. So that just goes to show you, that she was enjoying Invasion too. But the new TV show that I just started, and I'm only 2 episodes in, but it's called A Murder at the End of the World, and it's on Hulu. It's Darby Hart, a Gen Z amateur sleuth, attempts to solve a murder at a secluded retreat. And it's with Clive Owen, I believe.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's funny because I'm on episode 2 and it just hit this part of, like you did with Buccaneers, where you're like, wait a minute, what's happening? Like first you're just kind of watching, you're like, okay, where's this going? And then all of a sudden something like kind of kicks it. And so now I'm like, okay, I want to go watch that now. I want to go see what happens. So I'm only on episode 2. And so I'm pleasantly looking forward to the next one. So that is what I'm currently watching right now. I did watch one movie because I wanted to report back on it, but it's called The Best Christmas Ever on Netflix. It is the #1 movie, but I have to say it was not that great. I thought, wow, it has Heather Graham in it. It has Brandy in it, but it was just okay. It wasn't that exciting. It's super short. So if you just want to watch a Christmas movie that is super short, then tune in. But there's not a love story in it. It's just basically Heather Graham gets these, how you get people there, instead of getting a card, sometimes you get those newsletters of what's happening in their life. And her, the Brandy, I can't remember her character name right now, but she's, I think, wealthy, has a good life. She keeps sending out these letters, and Heather Graham is sick and tired of seeing this. She's like, how can these all be true? How can people really live like this? Well, long story short, she gets to her house for Christmas by accident, and you'll just have to see how she does that. And she gets snowed in, and she has to stay. Her and her family have to stay at this house, and just more is revealed about that. So it's okay, it's all right, but it's not something that I would watch again. Let me just say that. I got through it, I watched it, but it is not something I would watch again. So that is what I am watching. Plus, I'm watching all my reality shows. I do want to let our friends out there know that I am going to be putting out a podcast episode on reality TV shows that'll be coming out early December. And maybe I can get Renee to join me on something else. We'll see. But just look out for a couple episodes coming out in December. And then, of course, we'll be back in February with more of the ones who live in the Walking Dead universe. So, friends out there, if you have any recommendations or any feedback for us, you can always get to us on social media, or Screens in Focus does have a Google Voice number, and that is 669-223-8542. That is in our show notes. So if you want to call us and leave a voice message, or you want to reach out to us and give us your feedback or your recommendations on social media, please do that. Everything is at screensinfocus.com, and all of that information is in our show notes. Okay, Renee, I want to thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
I want to thank you seriously for breaking all of this down. Fear the Walking Dead, for ending it with me, the finale, for doing Daryl Dixon. I'm thankful for you. I'm very thankful. Seriously, I really am.
I appreciate that. And I'm thankful that you asked me, because I have so much fun talking with you.
Thank you, Renee. You're so kind. All right, friends out there, we want to wish you happy holidays. Even though this may come out Friday, the day after. So happy Black Friday.
Yeah.
But we want to thank you for tuning in, because we are grateful for you and we are thankful for you. And we're so happy that you tuned in. And we hope something that we said today resonated with you, gave you a chuckle, some happiness, some positivity, or inspiration. Please subscribe to our website at screensinfocus.com and tell a friend, because we would love more members of our TV club. You can find our website listed in our show notes. And remember to keep watching, keep exploring, and keep those screens in focus. And we will see you next time. Bye.